Do we have any other questions from the established media?
Oh, I do have another one, if I makes it somebody else. I attended one of those meetings, Dr. Buzz, and the only thing I had a problem with is I had to let people in the Mobile area know about these meetings, and that's why they were there. It was not attended like it should have been. I mean, you have the ability to really inform every parent of a student because you've got the school boards. So I really don't understand if you really wanted the parents to know why the students weren't getting letters to take home to their parents and have county board meetings instead of 4 regional center meetings, which we could just about count on our fingers how many parents were there. There were more teachers and educators there. And I'm sure every parent wants to know what's going on with the state of education in Alabama. I just cannot believe that parents don't want to be involved. So.
I totally agree and welcome parental involvement. I have no control over who comes to meetings once they're announced. I regret that there weren't more people there, but I have no control.
Very regretful, yes.
Do we have any? Yes, sir.
Another question about the bill. As I understand it, it would say that any future changes in curriculum would have to be approved by the legislature. Is that right?
That's the way I read it.
What do you think about that?
I would think that they probably don't want to do that. I'm not sure. Sometimes you get what you ask for. I think they would be better served to leave that with the State Board of Education. They ultimately have authority. But I think that is a function. We have a process in Alabama that is vetted from the grassroots level through development, through implementation, through public hearings, through multiple ways of input until the State Board approves it. I don't see what value it would bring to put another 3 steps into that.
How long does that process normally take, Dr. Bice, as of right now?
Well over a year and a half to develop a set of standards, to really vet them. And another thing that has been lost in translation, we revisit our standards regularly. The standards we have now, they're on a cycle to be revisited and revised, just like they have always been. We've actually had our course of study team in recently to take a look at them to see if anything currently needs to be readjusted and changed, because in Alabama, just to show how different, some states who adopted the standards as they were submitted, the high school standards weren't broken into courses. They were just sets of standards by content. Our course of study committee actually looked at them and broke them and took all those standards and put them into specific courses that are unique to Alabama. Again, making sure that it was the right thing for our students, because we know what that looks like in our high schools. So we revisit regularly.
Dr. Bice, you already know that the ACT is also going to be aligned with Common Core, right? It's on their website.
I'm not aware of that.
It's on their website.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions? Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. I was on the ELA textbook committee last year, and we were able to find several books that had a very liberal, progressive bias to the point where, seriously, it was very anti-American capitalism, anti-family, anti-what we believe here in Alabama as conservative people. My concern, the biggest concern that I have, because I've been talking to a lot of parents, is how do you keep, as the superintendent of education, how can you assure parents that these liberal, progressive ideas will not be studied in their classrooms? Because I know that you said that we have a progression. I was an educator for 32 years. I made those lesson plans. I know how it works. And you have to be very cognizant of what is happening with textbooks, with internet sites, with any kind of resource that you as a teacher could pull in. Is there any guarantee that you can make to parents that the ideas that are against family values will not be taught in our Alabama classrooms?
I can answer that 2 ways. Number one is, I understand that you were on the ELA textbook committee and submitted a minority report.
Yes, sir.
Concerns about certain textbooks that were sent forward by the majority of the committee. I personally rejected those textbooks that were on your list because of that very reason. So there's a safeguard right there.
Okay.
Every one of them. The other thing is some of those decisions have to be made at the local level. That's where local parents, local school boards, local administrators, the standards only point out what needs to be taught. How that's taught and how that curriculum is developed and what textbooks are eventually adopted occurs at the local level. We assure, with your input, and I appreciate that what we put on the approved list that can be chosen from the local level is as pure as we can make it. But again, those sorts of decisions, I can't tell you with 100% accuracy that I can say that in Bennett Vice's 10th grade biology class tomorrow, what's exactly going to be taught. I can't do that. But I have to respect the profession of teaching and hope that teachers are doing exactly what the needs of their students are.
And may I follow up with that? The 50% informational text that will be taught through English language arts doesn't necessarily have anything to do with literature as literature has been known in the past. Now the 50% informational text, as the exemplars that I saw on the Vestavia website, Vestavia school website here in Alabama, are things like kids will be reading, and I saw this, kids will be reading about anti-lock brakes, the Federal Reserve System in San Francisco, a health clinic in Texas. And so I'm just really curious about how does that increase a child, or not a child, but a student, because a lot of this was for 9 through 12 grades. How does this prepare them for college to read manuals, executive orders, and so on? Because these are model exemplars for Common Core, for college and career readiness, and it's on several school websites here in the state of Alabama.
Sure. They're exemplars, and they're simply that. Nobody says they have to do those. And the informational text, if we read a little deeper into it, can be applied across subject matter, so it doesn't have to be applied just in English language arts classes. So it can happen in career tech classes, it can happen across multiple classes to ensure that that informational text is required, is met. And I think it's real important because we want to make sure that every kid has an opportunity to pursue whatever avenue they have. And we have many kids that may not go to four-year college. They go into technical school or go directly into work. And having the ability upon graduation to read those technical manuals and those sorts of informational texts, according to business and industry, is crucial for their success.
So we cannot protect literature in the English language. We cannot protect that. I mean, they would get this information in these other classes anyway.
That's what I'm saying. That's where the informational text can be implemented. There's nothing that says that literature has to be diminished in English language arts.
Okay, and
That's
I'm
a
going
local decision.
I'm going to hold you to the word on that.
Hold me.
Simply because 50% nonfiction, 50% literature.
Sure.
It just, that really bothers me. As
I
a
understand
teacher.
totally.
Okay.
There's great value in literature.
Yes, there is.
Sure.
We want to thank everyone for coming out. We appreciate all the questions that have been asked. If there are any follow-up questions, you guys in the media, most of you know me, feel free to contact me or Eric or Melissa personally. The document